Alright, another day, another dollar. Let's check Discord. Before this video starts, I'd like to paste a big ol' spoiler warning for the newly released game Deltarune. If you haven't played the game yet, please go play it before this review starts, because there's going to be plenty of spoilers, and I do recommend the game to a certain extent. If you enjoyed Undertale, then you'll definitely enjoy the experience, so please go play Deltarune and then come back and watch this video. Deltarune is the most recently released game by Toby Fox, and if anybody doesn't know the story behind how this game came to be, basically what happened on Twitter, Toby Fox's official account said there's going to be something big happening in 24 hours, so everybody went crazy, and everybody started, checking their Undertale and checking his website and whatnot. And after 24 hours, there was a link sent to a site called Deltarune with 2 download links for Mac and PC and for the English and Japanese versions. Now, of course, when this game came out, I thought to myself that I needed to play it, but I thought I was going to wait a little bit to see if this was real at all, and if this wasn't some sort of weird scam, because to download the game in general, you need to undo all of your security options, because the game seems to be digging through a lot of your files without you even wanting it to. When I tried downloading this game, it kept deleting itself because my computer kept saying, hey, this file is a virus. We know it is, so just don't download this again. So I had to go around disabling all of my security options in order to even download the game and then re-enable them again, because I have very illegitimate methods of getting my MP3 files. In any case, after all of that setup, the game, in fact, starts. And when the game started, I already had a couple of things spoiled for me, but not enough. That's why I keep saying please play this game without spoilers, because it's actually a lot of fun if this is your first game from Toby Fox. I'll absolutely give him that. If this is your first experience with something that's made by him, it's going to be amazing, but I'm sorry to all the Undertale fans out there. I did not enjoy Deltarune. I'm sorry, when I started the game, I had relatively high expectations, I'll give you that, but at the beginning of the game, you are told to create a character, and I'm sorry that I can't be showing you the footage of me creating said character right now, because it happens to be that I didn't record it. I didn't want to make a review for this game when I started it, but about halfway through I decided, yeah, I'll make a review for it, and I'll start recording some footage, which is what you're seeing right now. And, well, when I made the character, I decided I'm going to make myself, because wouldn't it be awesome to have, yourself in the world that is Undertale? Because, I don't think I have footage of that right now, but as you can see, it's actually just the world of Undertale, but with a different cast of characters. And I really wanted to place myself in that world, thinking that would be relatively cool, but then the game immediately assumed that I made a character that was not myself, and then completely trashed it, and then basically called me a piece of shit for trying to put something that isn't me inside the game world, spawning me into the character that you see fighting on screen right now, named Chris. And that's the protagonist that you control in the game, instead of whatever you were going to create. And the assets aren't reused again, it actually just trashes whatever you made, making it seem like Toby Fox knows who you're gonna be before you even play the game, but that's not what I was gonna do. The game seems to begin like every Undertale fan's absolute wet dream, with Toriel being your mother and you being her random child who's apparently named Chris for no given reason throughout the game. Then you're told that you are supposed to go to school, and that you're kind of late, I guess. So you hop into Toriel's car, you go to school, and then Alphys is the teacher, and I was sitting there thinking, ugh! Now, the reason I didn't enjoy this is because it seemed like such a cheap shot from Toby Fox to get you to love the game. Every single fan really wanted to see what would happen after the events of Undertale's pacifist ending, but we didn't get to see that because that was kind of the point of the game. There's no more game to have after you save everything. This is Undertale, not Overtale, like some people made a fan game of, that you can download on GameJolt, I assume. but it seemed like such a low blow for him to go with having Toriel be your mother and Alphys be your teacher, because that's what everybody wanted. It seemed like such a safe bet, and it really wasn't in Toby Fox's style, or at least not to my liking for something that he could have done. Now, before the angry swarm of Undertale fans come and absolutely trash me in the comments, please, I'm begging you to be open-minded for at least a second here. I enjoyed some parts of Deltarune. It's just the overall experience that I was a little bit disappointed with. And yes, I've beaten the game, I know there's a second part coming out, but I want you to really sit down and think about this for a minute. In Undertale, you start off in the ruins, go to Snowdin, go to the waterfall, the core, and you win. In this game, you go through a tutorial area, a waterfall forest kind of area, and the final area. Now, where have you seen those things before? That's right, in Undertale. It's the exact same three things. A beginning, a middle that's nature-based, and an end that's a big castle. Now, I might have been the only one who noticed this, but in all honesty, it just feels like it's the exact same game with a slightly different change of cast. Even the main character, Chris, is literally just a recolored version of Frisk, who also doesn't speak, also doesn't have a gender, and also doesn't seem to change emotion on her face. Now, sure, Toby Fox played with this a little bit at the beginning of the game when he gives you an option to say something back to Susie, and whatever you choose, she says, "Don't bother answering, you don't talk anyways." I actually relatively enjoyed that because I think the game would build more on the fact that you can't talk, just like it did in Undertale, which, that I enjoyed, but in this game it's only used about once and the rest is conveniently able to hear you even though you're not supposed to be able to speak. So it feels like he wanted it to be that way and then it wasn't that way later on. It just felt a little bit rushed to me. And now I'd like to talk about some of the characters. So, you start off by playing as Chris, which is basically the new Frisk. Seriously, there's absolutely nothing else to this character other than being the quote-unquote vessel that you play along as. This idea was already used in Undertale, and it seems like it could have been played a lot better in this game had Toby Fox given a little bit more effort on what the character was going to be like in the first place. Ralsei is your partner, basically, through most of the game. She's the she, I have no idea. They are the healer in the game, and have the most healing ability, at least during the battling portions, and is just Toriel mixed with Undyne. I wish I were kidding. They're the tutorial, they're also relatively shy, but their personality is pretty much something we've already seen, and it just feels like something that anybody could have made. Susie is the big bad girl with the axe. She's the bully that is another character that seems entirely one-dimensional because throughout the game, she slowly turns into a quote-unquote good guy. Sure, inside of the Scarlet Forest, she turns against you, but it's never used in an interesting way. It's only used in a joking way where they go around and pretend to be evil against you. And if it was played along and it was built upon a lot better than to just serve as a twist that you shouldn't have seen coming, I would have enjoyed it a lot more, but they just went entirely against everything that happened in the Scarlet Forest immediately after the boss fight at the end, so it just feels like the entire endeavor was completely pointless. And now for Lance, or should I say, if somebody puts Sans and Papyrus inside of the same body. Now, some people might really go against me on this and say that's absolutely not true. At the end of the game, you fight his dad, or the king. And I was able to figure out what to do in the fight just because I had played Undertale. I was doing a quote-unquote pacifist run throughout the entire game, thinking that there would be the same three endings that there usually was, because this game resembled Undertale so much. And then when I got there, I started doing acts and nothing worked, so of course I started fighting, and then the fight was over after a certain amount of hits, and then he started begging for mercy or saying that he was against his old ways or something like that. Now this is the part of the game that I really enjoyed. So actually, your partner Ralsei goes up to the king and heals him saying, "It's okay, we won't fight," and then he actually pulls a twist that I wasn't going to see before and basically trashes your entire party, and then you're completely powerless. And I really felt like the game was going to continue off of that point. I was going to have a lot of fun developing the characters, spending more time with them, and just becoming stronger, and then I'd have a motive to try and actually beat this unnamed king that we don't see throughout the entire game and are just told he's the bad guy, go fight him. Now, I'm not gonna sit here and constantly complain about everything that the game tries to be. I understand there were some things that were actually really new and really innovative, but a lot of it just felt like the same old jokes in the same old game. If you want to be a pacifist, you act until the enemy stops fighting back. If you don't, you just go ahead and use attack constantly, and you can have some sort of middle ground where you sometimes kill and sometimes don't. You fall into an underground place and you have to make your way out by defeating a king. Do you see where I'm going with this? It's the same experience once you look at it at a slightly specific level. On the surface level, it seems like it's different, and if your argument is that it's a sequel and it shouldn't be different, well, if a sequel is supposed to build on what the original is, but this doesn't continue the story in a way that's meaningful at all. The old characters just come back to fill spots that could have been filled by any other faceless little monster, and a large portion of the cast doesn't even come back. We only see Toriel, Asgore, Undyne, and Alphys. Those are the only 4 returning characters in a game that's supposed to be a sequel to one of the biggest indie hits of all time. Now, I understand that the hype for this game was giant and all of our expectations were huge, but this is literally just Undertale with a new little skin pack on it. It's the same areas, the same story, the exact same shenanigans. Alright, now, I'm done ranting, and I'm gonna start talking about a couple of things that I actually enjoyed about the game. Mainly, the combat system. I just loved the combat system in this game. Having people in your party, having to tell them what to do, it was like having multiple other Frisks in your party, and it actually built upon what Undertale had created. It was something brand new inside something we already enjoyed. It was a step in the absolute right direction. But everything else just really seemed like it was more of what we had already seen. I heard there was a secret boss in this game, and I know I can just look it up on how to go fight him, but I don't have the motivation to go find the secret boss. I don't see what more it could add. I know I'll get to use the combat system more, but other than that, I just have to play through the entire game, which is going to be another repeating experience. I have about 90 hours on Undertale. Undertale is a 6-hour experience. This game took me a little under 2 hours to complete, so it's just a condensed Undertale again. And I really don't care about getting footage for the secret boss, at least for this video, because this video is meant to be a review and is not meant to be gameplay of the game, because as I said, I'd like everyone to be watching this video to at least have finished the game. So sadly, this removes a little part of the replayability value, which is something that Undertale was giant about. I understand that I have to go through again and try not killing anything or try to kill everything, but I feel like if I do get those two things, I would just be proving my point even more. It would be the same game with different characters. And even then, the characters have the same personality as other characters we've already seen. Oh my god! Yes, that is something Deltarune desperately needs so much more of. Building on the old game in surprising and innovative new ways, something that only Toby Fox could do. Sadly, this is the only moment where I felt like Toby Fox's talent really shined throughout the sequel. But then again, this is only chapter 1 of whatever experience this is going to be, so I can't be too harsh. And if you enjoyed the game, that doesn't mean that I'm gonna hate you for it. In fact, I can completely see why somebody would enjoy this game. I just feel like it could have been a lot more than it was. And before you go trash me in the comments, please be a little more open-minded and think about what so much more of this game could have been. For now, I'm gonna go back to, well, doing Let's Plays and whatnot, so thank you for listening to me ramble about Deltarune for the last, I don't know, 12 minutes, and I hope to see you guys around. Save for the fact that I tried to download this game and then it had a blah, 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 blah. Yes, that is something fuck. once you're done creating your character, it simply trashes it and blah, 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 blah. He just straight up turns on you, and all of your